Okay, we're going to do 39 through 50. We're going to finish up now. The table below shows the cost of a pizza based on the number of toppings. Which function represents the cost of a pizza with n toppings? Well, first, let's look at the slope. From $12 to $13.50, we grow $1.50. So you can find that by subtraction. $13.50 minus 12 is $1.50. $15 minus $13.50 is also $1.50. And then $16.50 minus 15 is $1.50. So the rate of change is $1.50. And what word do you associate with rate of change? Slope. So we're looking for a slope of 1.5. So this could be the answer. This could not. There's no 1.5 within. This could not. So our answers are between A and B. So what you can do is you can substitute each x value or each n value for n to see if you get your C. So let's try C of 1. That just means put 1 in place of every n. So we have 12 plus 1.5 times n, which is 1, because we're using that, minus 1. So it's 12 plus 1.5 times 0. That's 0. So we're saying C of 1 is 12. So far, it looks like A can work. So let's try the value of 2 in A. So let's say C of 2 is equal to 12 plus 1.5 times 2 minus 1. So it's 12 plus 1.5, and 1.5 times 2 minus 1 is just 1. So it's 12 plus 1.5. That's 13.5. So it looks like that might work. Let's go on. Let's go ahead and see if we look. It looks like letter A might be our answer. Let's look at letter B and see if we can eliminate it. So let's look at C of 1 with B. This time we're using 1.5 n plus 12. So C of 1 is 1.5 times 1 plus 12, which is 1.5 plus 12. So they're saying that C of 1 is $13.50. But if we look at it, C of 1 is not $13.50, it's $12. So we know that it's not B. So the answer for 39 has to be A. So number 39 is A. Let's move on to number 40. Remember, we eliminated C and D because they did not have a slope of 1.5. So you can eliminate to begin with, and then that lets you only have to work with a couple of more problems. Number 40, the answer is A. And let's move on to number 41. For number 41, the sequence below shows the number of trees a nursery plants each year. Which formula could be used to determine the number of trees the nursery will plant next year? Next, if the number of trees planted this year, now is known. So, okay. Which formula could be used to determine the number of trees the nursery will plant next year, which is next, if the number of trees planted this year, which is now, is known? So what you would do is you would try to figure out how did they get from 2 to 8. We know 2 times 4 is 8. I wonder if we can do that and get from 8 to 32. That works. And then if we do 32 times 4, we get to 128. With next now, that means that we're going to have 4 times now. So that's going to be A. Another thing you can do is that you can actually substitute. You can say next is equal to 4 times now. Therefore, the first time next is equal to 4 times now is 2. So that's 8. Okay? So now, next would equal 4 times 8, which is 32. And as you see, you get those numbers. So that's how you work it out. If you had done a fourth of 2, you would go down and not up, so that won't work. So you can check it like that. Or you can remember that if you multiply with the next now here, that would be exponential if you wrote it a different way, but here it's just multiplication there. All right? So let's go to the next problem. There were originally 4 trees in the orchard. Each year the owner planted the same number of trees. In the 29th year there were So in the 29th year, there were 178 trees in the orchard. Which function, T of n, can be used to determine the number of trees in any year n? So let's see, we have 4 trees originally. So originally is your 0, you have 4 trees. But in your 29th year, how many trees do you have? 178. So the good news is you can just put this in the calculator. You can put this in your calculator with stat edit. And then you can go to stat calc so it can calculate your equation. Or you can find the slope, and after you find the slope, you can determine what equation it is. So looking at number 42, I'll see what approach I made. I put it in the calculator because it worked out very well. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to put these 2 ordered pairs. You should have written these down. I'm going to show you how to put them in the calculator. I think you're pretty good at that now because you did really well with that when we did it in class. But let's pull up the calculator. Put in the 2 ordered pairs that we just wrote from looking at what we read. We put in 0, 4. So let's go to let's look at the table for now and see how it looks. Let's hit stat, edit. It looks like we have data in there, so what you would do is cursor up and hit clear, and then cursor down. Never, ever, ever hit delete. Never hit delete there, because that'll mess you up. Go back over here. Go up and hit clear, and then come down. Now you can put new data in. If you want to clear this, we can clear this history. And now let's put in our 0 and our 29, because those are our x's. 0, enter. 29, enter. And then let's put in our y's, which would be our 4 and our 178. Enter. And then 178, enter. And then you can use your stat calc, because you want the calculator to do the work. It's linear regression. You hit your enter, and you see it's y is equal to 6x plus 4. Or in this situation, t of n equals 6n plus 4. So your answer is C. So that's what the answer to number 42 is. It is C. Let me pop this back over here. PowerPoint. Now let's go to number 43. For number 43, you have the vertices of a quadrilateral. So the vertices of quadrilateral, E, F, G, H, are E, I'm estimating again, negative 7, 3, so I'm about right here, negative 7, 3 for E. F, negative 4, 6, I think I actually did draw this, so we can try to draw you a little grid because it's going to be more accurate here. Let's draw that. And you will be allowed to use graph paper, so yours will be even more accurate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. About right there. That's your E. And then your F is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about right there. Your G is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 1, 2, 3. So there's G. And your H is 1, 2, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so now you want to draw your quadrilateral, 4-sided figure because it's quadrilateral, and then you want to look and see what it looks like. Is it a trapezoid? No, because the trapezoid only has 1 pair of parallel lines. Is it a square? No, squares all sides are equal. Is it a rectangle that is not a square? Yes, it is. It's not a rhombus that is not a square. A rhombus has all sides congruent. We can look at this. We really don't even have to make sure they're all perpendicular. We can look at this based on our choices, and we can tell this has to be the rectangle that's not a square. So that's number 43. And let's move on to number 44. 44, R is the midpoint of segment PS, and Q is the midpoint of segment RS. P is located at 810, so you can put your 810, you know you can write on your test when you get it. And S is located at 12, negative 6. What are the coordinates of Q? So you're going to have to find midpoint twice. You have to find the midpoint of PS, which is R, and then when you get that answer, you can find the midpoint of RS, which is Q. Midpoint is nice, you just add what you have and divide it in half because it's in the middle. And for your y-coordinates, you do the same thing. So the first thing we're going to do is 8 plus 12 divided by 2. And for the y's, 10 plus negative 6 divided by 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. And 10 minus 6 is 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we're saying that this is 10, 2. And now we're going to use these two ordered pairs to find the midpoint so we can get Q. So we have 10 plus 12 divided by 2 for x's, and 2 plus negative 6 divided by 2 for y's. 22 divided by 2 is 11, and negative 4 divided by 2 is just negative 2. So your answer is C. So for number 44, you should have C. And let's move on to number 45. Okay, number 45. The sequence below shows the total number of days San Francisco had used his gym. Oh, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I was thinking of a place. The sequence below shows the total number of days Francisco had used his gym membership at the end of weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4, 9, 14, 19. Assuming the pattern continued, which function could be used to find the total number of days Francisco had used his gym membership at the end of the week? So, what we're going to do, we're going to make a little table. Tables are great because they help us to get a visual. We'll have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and this is relatively speaking. So on day 1, he used it 4 times, then 9 times, then 14 times, and 19 times each day. We want to know which function represents that. You can go ahead and put it in StatEdit in the calculator and find the equation. All the slopes look pretty similar. Well, there are 2 of them right here. I can find out the slope right away. 9 minus 4 is 5. 14 minus 9 is 5. 19 minus that's 5. So we can eliminate this one and we can eliminate this one. So it has to be B or C. The easiest thing to do at this point to find your intercept is to go ahead and get the equation and then look at the table. So I'm going to go ahead over there, go to StatEdit, we're going to put it in, and then we're going to find the answer. Make sure you have your table so that you can use your table to put your data points in. Let's go to StatEdit again. Remember to clear, you just cursor up and hit clear, cursor down and it goes away. Cursor up and hit clear, but you won't see it again until you cursor down. If you want, I can clear this history so it won't look so confusing. Now let's put our data points in. 1, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter. Move over to the other side and put in your data points. 4, enter, 9, enter, 14, enter, 19, enter. Okay, now we can go get our equation, stacked calc. Number 4, your linear regression equation. Hit enter, and we see that the answer has to be f of n is equal to 5n minus 1. Because our a is 5 and our b is negative 1. So the answer is B. Now let's move on to number 46. For number 46, this one's not too bad at all. The volume of a sphere is 2,400 cubic centimeters. What is the approximate diameter of the sphere? You do have to know some things. They give you the formula. Now I'm going to show you how to use another function on your calculator. They give you the volume. So in place of V, you're going to substitute 2,400. And then we have 4/3 pi r cubed. So we're solving for r so that we can change it over to a diameter. So now, what you can do to get rid of that 3, you can cross multiply, or you can multiply. A lot of people like to just multiply both sides of the equation by your denominator, which is 3. So the 3's cancel out. And now we have 3 times 2,400. I got 7,200. Is equal to 4 pi r cubed, but we're solving for r to the 3rd, so we have a problem with 4 pi, so we're getting rid of it. Remember to use your inverse operation of division, and it's gone. So we have 7,200 divided by 4 pi. When you put this in the calculator, make sure you put it in parentheses, and you will get 573 is equal to r cubed. So in your calculator, you will put 7,200 divided by, then you're going to hit second, and you're going to hit the up symbol, and that's going to give you your pi, okay? That's how you get your pi. You hit second, and then you hit the up symbol, and you'll get pi. And then you're going to, let's see, let me demonstrate, because I don't think I did a good job explaining that. Let me demonstrate. So I will get the calculator on that one. Let me continue writing this down, and then we'll go from here on down to demonstrate. So we're going to do the opposite of a cube, so we're going to do a cube root. So when we take the cube root on the calculator, we're going to get r is approximately 8.3. Well, if that's your radius, remember how to get from the radius to the diameter? Right, you doubled it. So now we're going to do 8.3 times 2, because the diameter, if you look at a circle or a sphere, this is your radius, but when you include the whole piece, that's your diameter. So then you have 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 8 is 16. So your answer is A. But I do want to make sure you're okay with putting that in the calculator. So I'm going to get a calculator on here. We're going to put that in. Make sure you have it written down, because if you don't put it in correctly, you will not get the right answer. Okay, let's put this one in. Escape, calculator. Let's go to let's clear this. All right, so we want to put in the 7,200 divided by 7,200 divided by, and I didn't show you the parentheses. That's why I wanted to make sure I demonstrated, because I felt like I had confused it. So let's put 4. I didn't want you to be confused. Second, and this is the caret symbol for pi, and you see how it looks exactly how you wrote it. So now you're straight, because it's going to do what's in parentheses first. It's going to multiply 4 pi and then divide. If you don't put parentheses, it's going to divide first and then multiply, so you don't want to forget that. And that's where you get that 572, which I rounded to 573. And that's how come we took the cube root of 573. How do you take the cube root of 573? Well, you hit the math function on your calculator. You go down to number 4, you see that's cube root. You can hit 4, and then you put in your 573. 573. Whoops, let's take some of those off. Start right here. Delete, delete. Okay, and then close parentheses and hit enter. And that's where the 8.3 came from. So that's how you do that problem. Now we can move on to number 47. Okay, look at number 47. The number of points scored by a basketball player in the first 8 games of the season are shown below. I think you'll like this problem. What would happen to the data distribution if she scored 24, 22, 27, and 28 points in her next 4 games? So what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to look at the average, and then we're going to see what happens. So the data distribution will become less peaked and more widely spread. The data distribution will become less peaked and less widely spread. The data distribution will become more peaked and less widely spread, or the data distribution will become more peaked and more widely spread. So let's check it out. I found the average of each one. I went ahead and did this and divided by 8, and I got 24. Then, what I did after that was I added those extra scores in. So when I added all of the numbers here, I put yes, I got 192. So I put 192, plus then I combined these, I added these in. 24 plus 22 plus 27 plus 28. That makes 12, because that's 8, those are the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now we're going to divide by 12, and I got 24.42. These means are very close to each other, they're very close. The distribution will become less peaked and more widely spread. No, it's not less peaked and more widely spread. That means that it doesn't go up as much. The data distribution will become less peaked and less widely spread. No, it's not less widely spread because you have these scores that are gonna fall. Let's see, that's 24, that's 22. And well, if we put them in order, we can see it better. These are not in order, but you have 27 in there. So you can see that that's not really, they're all within that little area. The data distribution will become more peaked and less widely spread. So here it's more peaked and less widely spread, so that's no. So your answer for number 47 is actually it is C. It is gonna become more peaked but less widely spread. The data distribution will become more peaked and more widely spread. We already said not more widely spread, so that's why it's C. I'm sorry about that, that's C. Okay, let's move on to number 48. For that problem, if you could see that by just putting them in order and not using the average, you definitely can do that problem without finding the average. Let's look at number 48. The table below shows the shoe size and age of 7 boys. So for this one, you have to make a data plot, a scatter plot. From the scatter plot, because of what they asked us, approximately what percent of boys' ages is more than one different from the age predicted by the line of best fit. So remember, for the line of best fit of the data, you have to put in a scatter plot. So you have to put second, stat plot, you're gonna have to hit that key. And then the other stuff is pretty straightforward from there. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll look at it and we'll make our comparisons. This is gonna be probably, the other problems aren't this long that we have left. So let's look at number 48. Go back to the calculator. Because we're doing a stat plot, let's go ahead and start fresh with the memory clear. Second plus 7, 1, 2. Okay, let's go to stat plot for our scatter plot. Second, y equals, so that you can get to that stat plot. And then you have to turn it on because you see they're off. To turn it on, remember you hit enter. Let me clear this history for you. Okay, so we hit enter to turn it on. And now we want the scatter plot, which is right here, it's already highlighted. We want to put our data under L1 for X. We want to do, we want our points to look like that. So we're okay now. So now put our data in. Go to Stat, Edit, put your numbers in off the table. We have 6, I'll call them out. 6, enter, 6, enter, 7, enter, we have 2 6s. 8, enter, 9, enter, 10, enter, and 12, enter. Then you want to go to your next column for your Y's, and you put in 9, enter, 11, enter, 15, enter, 11, enter, 15, enter, 16, enter, and 17, enter. Okay, so you have your points in. Now let's get the line of best fit, stat, calc, linear regression again, number 4. Hit enter so you can see. Here you have the equation of the line of best fit. I wrote it down so I could transfer it over to my y equals. There's another way you can put that in. I don't want you to forget that, so I'd rather you just write it down. So y is equal to 1 point. I wrote the whole thing because sometimes you lose numbers in your answers on these multiple choice tests. I've seen that happen, so I'm going to put the whole thing in. 4.09708 7379. So now we'll go to y equals and we'll put that in. You can go ahead and just put the numbers in. Y equals. Another way you can do it is go to VARs. You can go to VARs, I'll show you the other way. And then you would go to statistics because it's number 5, if you can remember that. And then you want to put an equation in, so then you hit enter. And it puts it in for you. So if you can't remember that, just put it in manually. So now you have your equation. So now you can look at the table and start making comparisons. So you look at the table on your paper and you look at the table that is on the board. For 6, they had predicted 10.85, but for our 6, we have 9. So that's more than 1 away. So circle that on your table. And when you want to cursor down on your table, to see more values, you go down here. So I'll pop down and tell you what I was asking you to do. So I'm asking you to circle this, because this is off by more than one, according to the line that was predicted. And now let's look back up at the calculator, and let's look at, the second 6 is okay, because it's 10.85. On our table, 10.85 is not more than one away. So let's look at the 7 on our table. We have 15, and for their 7, we have to go up a little bit more. They have 11.98. That definitely is more than one off. So go down and circle that one, where your x is 11. Your x is 7. And then you have that 15. So now look at 8, see what you think. Look at 8. Let me get the calculator. For 8 on the predicted, with the line of best fit, we have 13. On the 8 on the table here, we have 11. 13 and 11, they're more than one apart. So that is also not close. But if you look at the 9, the 10, and the 12, if you notice, when you look at those on the calculator, they are not too bad. 9 is within the range of 1, because our 9 has 15 and they have 14 point something. Our 10 has 16, their 10 has 15 point something. That's closer than 1. And Jonathan's 12 goes with 17, and we have 17. So those are the only 3. So now what you would have to do with those 3 things that you circled is you just basically count. This is the easy part now. So now all you have to do is count. You have 1, 2, 3 that we've circled. So we have 3 out of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you would just do 3 divided by 7, and when you do 3 divided by 7, you can use your calculator if you want. You get 0.428, but when you make that a percent, that goes to 43%. Because you round up because of the 8. So 48 is C. 49 is very easy because it's very logical when you look at the graph and you look at the choices. So for 49, we have a scatter plot. Let me erase. And for 49, the scatter plot below shows the number of arithmetic errors that 10 students made on a quiz and the amount of time the students took to complete the quiz. Okay, so these are the arithmetic errors, and this is how long. Remember, time is usually on your x-axis, which describes the relationship between the number of arithmetic errors the students made and the amount of time that it took them to complete the quiz. Okay, so there's a strong positive correlation. If there was a positive correlation, would you go uphill or downhill? If you think about it, a positive line goes uphill, so that's wrong. You can't be positive. There's a strong negative relationship between the variables. If you look at number 49, that's correct, because you have a negative slope. If you look at the line of best fit, it goes downhill. So the answer is B. There's no weak positive because it's not going uphill at all. There's no weak negative, as you really couldn't tell how it's going downhill, but we can definitely tell it's going downhill. So the answer is B to number 49. And your last problem, number 50. An elevator can hold a maximum of 1,500 pounds. 8 people need to use the elevator. Bill had some measures from the data set of how much each person weighed. Which measure would be most useful to determine if people can safely use the elevator? The mean, which is your average, the median, which is the middle number, the mode, which is what you see most, or the interquartile range, which is your Q3 minus Q1, or upper minus lower quartile. The best thing to use here is your average. The average weight is what you would best use for number 50. And that's it. Let me know if there's something you had a question on. Feel free to review the videos, but if there's something you still don't understand, just come see me.